Common question we get: which lower is compatible with my firearm? A lot of folks call our housings a lower because it looks just like an AR-15 lower receiver. So we're going to use some of that language interchangeably. We refer to it as the LS5 housing. But a lot of folks ask which lower, which housing is appropriate for mine. There is, if you go to our website, we have a which variant is appropriate for my product, which variant is correct. Check that link, and we can link that below if needed. We have a running list of MP5s and other clones that are categorized into which of our housings you would need. And just as a quick reference, most of them fall into one of four categories. We have four separate housings, and within those four housings, you can address whichever roll delay platform you're running. Check that link, check that list. You will probably get a quicker answer doing that than emailing us. We love you guys. A lot of you guys ask that question, and we end up digging through a lot of emails to answer those for you. If you hit that link, we'll answer that a lot quicker than I can respond to you, okay? Let's get out here in the field with Austin a little bit. Does this trigger group fit my firearm? Would be the next question. So someone has their favorite trigger, their favorite AR-15 style trigger.
Yes.
Will it fit this housing?
So that's a great question. Does a specific trigger fit into the LS5? With the LS5, our trigger housing, you have the added complexity of the ejector lever over a typical AR-15. The MP5 bolt carrier is also compressing the hammer just a little bit more. So something like a Geisley triggers are great. They're really popular. They're awesome, super reliable, but they need a little bit of a chamfer on the top front of the hammer. And there's a lot of triggers like that are really close to functioning well in the LS5. But if you can chamfer the top front of the hammer, I have found that for most anything, 27 to 30 degrees is ideal, and put a polish on it, the bolt carrier rides pretty smoothly over the hammer. Same applies for even mil-spec. You know, it'll function just fine in stock form, but if you can polish the top front of the hammer, it'll be smoother. Again, the Warhammer hammer is really good. He has a very specific cut to it that is really smooth. The cassettes in a lot of triggers, like we use the Ballistic Engineering triggers for our complete trigger groups, and they do not require any modification to fit underneath the cassette. Something like the Delta Team Tactical or Rare Breed, the Chip McCormick cassettes, they're kind of big and rectangular. Those will need to be cut, filed to fit, until the ejector lever can move on top of the left side.
So you've mentioned some brands there. That's going to lead us into another question, no doubt. Reference our forced reset triggers from some of these companies. Can you address fitment with forced reset triggers in the LS5?
Yes. They can fit and they can work, but it requires a lot of file to fit, not just on the cassette to fit underneath the ejector lever, but also the hammer needs to be filed to fit just right to where it rides smoothly underneath the bolt carrier, but also compresses the disconnect, the reset function, the right amount. And then there's also the disconnect release. I'm not sure what it's called, that allows you to pull the trigger again. Those have to be filed to fit pretty precisely for your individual gun.
Saying no to your forced reset triggers, just understand that if you are not a competent gunsmith, then may not be the way for you to go. We're bringing some modularity from the AR platform to the roller delayed platform. It does not make it an AR-15. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
All right, trigger. So which trigger group should I choose? This is a common question I get, a common email. What's your favorite trigger? What do you like to put in here?
So the K is the one that goes with me everywhere. I compete with it and I carry it around in my bag every day. I shoot it the most, and it's just the regular Ballistic Engineering core trigger, standard semi-auto. It's great, super reliable, and very pleasant recoil impulse. And
I'll second that motion. So the Ballistic Engineering core trigger is our base package. Every time I put one of those together, I'm like, man, this still feels good. This feels good.
It's great.
Like it. It would be. I would happily use one of those. I like it myself. Geisleys are hard to beat any day of the week. But if you're going with the cassette style, I love my Ballistic Engineering core.
Yeah, absolutely. And also for like duty use, the SDC is really nice. It's a really safe, reliable trigger. And for law enforcement, we do have the a trigger group with the super select fire uh, in our own auto sear design. That is an option for some.
And so, if you are law enforcement, we do have a specific product for you if your department is interested, if your SOP allows. For the individual officer making a purchase, I know sometimes we're having to buy our own equipment as long as your policy allows. Uh, if you're balling on a budget, and I've been there, I like the Geisley. You're asking about a favorite trigger. I like the Geisley as my first option. I'd have no problem going through a door with a Ballistic Engineering core, and that's going to be a little more budget friendly. It's still reliable, still feels good. It's a 4-pound trigger, if I recall.
Yeah, the Ballistic Engineering core is about 3 3/4 to 4. Um, the other Ballistic Engineering options have nicer coatings on the uh, hammer or the sear surfaces, and you can dial them down to 2.5, 2 pounds depending on the variant. They're really light.
So you guys
Yeah.
run those single stages as opposed to like a super safety. You can run one of our nicer Ballistic Engineering single stage triggers quite quickly if you're in competition. Check out the website. We have several options. None of them are bad. I know you asked which one would we pick. None of them are bad. We picked some good ones. Ballistic Engineering's taking really good care of us, makes a good product. We recommend.
Yeah, that's true. We've gone through a couple different brands of like cassette style triggers, and the Ballistic Engineering ones are excellent. And the design of the hammer and the disconnect work really well in these trigger groups.
Been a big fan. So the next question is going to be, do I need modifications to my existing trigger? We've talked a little bit about that. I realize that's going to depend trigger to trigger.
Is that for someone that's buying a complete trigger group from us? Or because if you're buying a complete trigger group from us, like with the Geisley, for example, and I've mentioned before, like you need to modify the Geisley hammer. If you buy a complete trigger group from us with a Geisley, it'll come pre-chamfered and modified and have a mirror polish over the surfaces that have been contacted. So it'll drop in and function just fine in your MP5. If you're putting your own Geisley in, or like a LaRue MBT, those are great and popular, excellent value. They'll probably need to be modified. Some people, again, because the tolerances of these MP5s can vary a good bit, some people can put an MBT in and not need to do anything. It'll function just fine for them. Most of the time, people need a bit of hammer polish to get it to run well.
Again, back to there's going to be some variance between each individual firearm because of the nature of the platform. So which lower receiver should I buy? Again, housing. I'm going to refer to our prior answer, which was check the website. One of the 4 housings that we make will fit your roller delayed action. Check the website to verify fitment. Okay, so next question. Does the trigger group come with a buffer? And I'll handle this one. So if you purchase a LS5 housing from us, and you've chosen the correct housing to go with your firearm, we will ship it with what is necessary to make it run. That includes the buffer. So if you're buying, or if your firearm requires a full size, either semi-shelf or push pin housing, they'll automatically ship with a buffer. You don't have to order that separately. Generally speaking, the K platforms don't use the buffer. The full size ones do. If there's an exception to that, or if you think you may need a buffer, you can always reach back out to us, and we can help you troubleshoot whatever the deal is with your buffer. Again, it's the roller delayed action. It might require some specific fitment to that gun. But in general, when we ship you a housing, we're shipping you what you need to make it run. So it'll ship with a buffer if it needs a buffer. Next question will be, this is everyone's favorite, when will my order ship? We're always working on narrowing that lead time. Understand you guys are awesome, and you're making us work for our money here. We're putting in a lot of time to ship these out. So bear with us. We'll get them to you as fast as we can. We're hot again. I've been hot the whole time, just so we're clear.
I know, I can see through the hat.
Another common question we get is, are binary trigger packs suitable for one of our housings?
Yeah, the Franklin AR binary trigger that they made for AR-15s will work just fine in our trigger groups. However, there is a possibility of trigger slap, again, because the MP5 bolt carrier is compressing the hammer a bit more. A chamfer, on the top front of the hammer, or rounding, like, Sco Prints has like a rounded jig. If you were to use something like that, that would really help. 90% of the time, it'll run the AR binary trigger will run just fine in our lowers, but there is a possibility of trigger slap in semi-auto. Rounding the top front of the hammer will fix that.
Okay, rounding the top front of the hammer. And
Mhm.
again, there will be a series of more technical support videos coming out, probably not on this platform. We'll work on those in the future. Just again, understand that there's going to be a rule for everything, an exception for every rule also when we talk about these roller delayed platforms. So I believe that finishes out the list of questions we have for today. Appreciate you guys hanging with us on some fairly technical questions and some monologues on those topics. I know you have more questions. Put them in the comments. Reach out to us. We'll get you squared away. We're pretty excited here. We're breaking ground on our new base of operations. Austin, thank you for coming out and giving some time here.
Absolutely.
For the folks. Y'all be seeing more of my ugly mug. We got some exciting things coming down the road with the rifle platform, some other products coming. So appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.